Let's see, looking good. Welcome back to another episode of I Can Do That. Today, we're gonna be sewing. I seen pictures and videos of people sewing, and then I saw my kids come home with a stuffed animal, and I thought, you know, I could do something like that. I could do that. I could make an animal of some sort. So I've got my fabric here. I don't know, great fabric. It's not the type that you would want to snuggle with at night as a stuffed animal. I have some stuffing. I have a little bit more right here. And then I have a little sewing kind of kit. Has some scissors, some pins, some thread, measuring and needles. And then I have the sewing machine. And then a paper and pen to trace out the animal. So I think for today, we're gonna try a simple bear. Now, I'm not a great artist. I'm not a great seamstress. I think is what they're called. So let's see. We'll start by, okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, I wanna make sure that whatever I draw will fit on the fabric. So we'll start with a head, and then half circles, half circle. Yeah, those ears aren't straight. Actually, if I were to fold it in half, that way I can make sure it's symmetrical. That way I just have to draw half. Let's try that. Okay. So we'll draw half the head. Oh boy. One of the ears. Draw the body. An arm. And a leg. Sure. So that is the half of the bear. We'll see how it converts when I cut it. So I've got my scissors here, and we'll just cut it out and see how it looks. And that's our bear. Yeah, I mean, could be worse, but sure, we'll go with it. So now, we're gonna trace this onto our fabric, and I'm gonna wanna go a little bit wider. In my mind, I just feel like when I go to sew, I want a little bit of space for air. Room for air is always good. So we're gonna just go just outside. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but we've got the first outline. And then what we're gonna do is with this other one, we're actually gonna flip it over so that it's the mirror image of that guy. Okay, and that is number 2. And now we gotta cut out the fabric. Okay, there's our side number 1. On to the yellow. Okay, and there's side number 2. So now put them so that the marker side is on the outside. That way, once we're done sewing, I'll turn it inside out so that the lines won't show and the seam or the stitching won't show. And then I'll fill it up and finish the sew and see how it turns out. So now I have to decide where that hole is gonna be to turn it inside out, as well as to fill it with the stuffing. So I think I'll probably go with right here along the belly. Is that the best place? I want to do the head. Actually, I think what I'll do is I won't sew the legs, and so this whole piece, this whole gap right here, I can use to turn it inside out, and then I'll just do a stitching on the legs. It won't look great, but it'll be good enough for who it's for. So, so here we go. We got it. Now what we'll do is this kit came with a bunch of pins, and I've seen from the videos I've watched, I've seen people use these needles to hold the fabric in place, so when you're sewing, it doesn't get misaligned, and that the seam is fairly straight. So I will start sticking this bear with needles. Okay, so now we have the needles all in there to hold the fabric in place so I can start sewing, and as I get to a needle, I'll just take it out so that I don't sew it in, or I think that's how it works. So now with this sewing machine, I've used it about 3 times to sew a piece of shoe back on, and actually I think that's it. Never mind, I've used it once. So we'll see how this goes. We'll start off at the bottom with so we'll start off at the bottom and kind of just work my way around. And one thing I have noticed with this sewing machine is there's one speed. Well, technically there's 2. It's fast and faster. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. False start. Gotta push this guy down. Okay. Take 2. Okay, now this is one thing I never learned how to do, is when you get to the end, how to close the seam so that it doesn't unwind or unravel. So all I do is I just kind of turn it around and go back the way we came. And then pull this guy out, maybe without breaking. I need you to come out. There it goes. Then we'll snip that. And fix that guy. And then I also, just to make sure, I will also tie the ends. Move that out of the way. So I just tie, since this is going to be on the inside, you won't see it. And it should just be okay to just tie a couple times. Nope, not like that though. On both ends, on the where I finished and where I started. Just tie it off. A couple knots. It's probably a special knot I'm supposed to be using. I don't know it. So we just do a couple normal knots, and then we'll tie that off, or cut that off. And same thing on the other side. Just cut it a couple times, or tie it a couple times, then cut it. Okay, and then there we go. We have our stitching, white on one side, black on the other. Now we'll just turn it inside out and see how it looks. So when doing this, you will occasionally find where you totally just missed, and that happened right there. I missed probably, well, the entire side. So what I'll do is I'll go in and turn it back inside out, or how it was originally, and go back and fix that piece. Oh yeah, not even close. So keep black side on the, okay, that there, don't need that. See, and that's what the needles were supposed to help with, but obviously they didn't for me. So we will start again and go right here. Okay, that guy up, pull this out, maybe, there it goes. We'll cut it and tie off our loose ends. I think I barely made it that time, still was a close one. So, and that's the thing with this is, I understand I'm not professional. I don't expect it to be perfect. Even the stuffed animals my kids get, they're not perfect. They have missing stitches or holes that come out really faster. So if I know that regardless of who does it, it's not gonna be perfect, I'd rather do it. Is that ugly stitch? Okay, now let's try flipping it inside out and see how it goes. Okay, when it comes to turning it inside out, sometimes I like to use a pencil or a pen to just help push out the seam. Yeah, still missed it, but good enough. It's close enough. That's how I'm calling it. See, now here, looks like it could be just a bunny. Kind of is. Oh, it was upside down. Okay, there we go. A bear with no arms, or it's a bunny with the short, stubby legs. But it's supposed to be a bear. So let's turn, just use the scissors to see if I can push out the seam. There it goes. Okay, so there's there it is. Now we can just start filling it with our stuffing. We'll see how far along this gets us, how much. And start filling the bear up and try to get it into all the corners and the ears, the arms. And same thing with the arms. It might be a little bit harder for me on this guy because the arms I made a little small, but. And then we're gonna wanna try to overstuff it a little bit so that once we're done, the legs will fill out too. Now remember, I've never, I do not do this as my job. I am interested in learning and understanding what people do and the process that it takes to do other things. And sewing is one that I thought is in my mind. It's, oh yeah, you can sew. It's, all you do is use one of these guys, or I know that one's just a kid, but for kids. But you just come up with an idea, sew it together, and yeah, that's looking pretty good. Again, it's not perfect, and it's not supposed to be perfect. We've already established that. But let's get a little bit more into the ear. There we go. But yeah, I think it's not too bad. It looks like right now, looks like it's a bear / mermaid. So, okay. Now I think we'll call that, oh, this part, call that good. And now we'll sew up the legs. And now this seam will show. I'm fully aware that this side will show. But it'll be good enough, okay? So, yeah, I think now we just need to pin this again. There's gotta be an easier way. Okay, I'm gonna go on the outside so that I sew on the inside, and we're gonna take this, we'll sew on the inside of the needles so that I know for sure that I'm not gonna miss a seam or not gonna have the same issue I had last time. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be done, because that's just painful. You know what, we're just gonna go for it. We're not gonna use the needles this time. Okay. How are we doing this then? Start here, oh boy. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna stick this through and sew it up. And we'll have to see if the bear fits now that it's all stuffed. So I'll stick that there. Oh boy. Well, my black thread just snapped. And you know what? I think it'll be okay. We'll have to put this guy back in, but cut that there. And we'll try tying this off and I'll show you the final result. Now as a final step, I'm just gonna trim up the legs because they're a little wonky. We'll clean those up and call it a day. Okay, there it is. All right, a quick review of the bear. So here it is, the final product. Overall, I give it a 7 out of 10 for it being the first, stuffed animal I've made. But there were a few pieces that I missed. So there, on each side of the head, you can see that I missed the fabric. And then on one side of the legs, I missed kind of the same thing, which was actually a blessing in disguise because I was able to use that to put the stuffing into the legs so that those could fill out a little bit more. But overall, I'd say mission completed. And let me know in the comments whether you think it was a pass, fail, and what I should do next time. See you soon.